If you're on your own path, doing your own thing, creating whatever it is you're creating, and like me, you feel like you needed permission or need permission to do it, Dear Bob, let me apologize I have not gotten back to you with a definitive answer up until this point. This is from Blue Note Records. We all listened to the demos closely and found them compelling and fresh, but have decided to pass given all on our plate at this time. With that said, please send me the finished album when you have it, as I'm curious to hear the finished piece. Best of luck with your musical pursuits. That was my official rejection letter from Blue Note Records, and my second failed attempt to get a record deal. So I'm just over a month away from this European tour, the first half with my band. The second half with Snarky Puppy. Tour dates are up on my website. And I'm auditioning some gear. So like I'm going through cases and trying to figure out, am I gonna take this case or am I gonna take this case or another one? And trying to get some of my delay pedal settings together, which to be quite honest with you, I've never done this before. I always just take the pedals out at the gig and kind of see what happens. Okay, so the record deal thing. Last week I released some new music. Well, I released some music. It's not exactly new. We'll come back to that. But it got me thinking about record deals and my quest for them over my career. Specifically, the 3 times I set out to get a record deal and failed each time. When I was in high school, is this on? When I was in high school, the career that I thought I wanted involved a record deal. Like a record deal with Warner Brothers Records or Verve or one of those big labels that was pumping out all of those. You see, it was the time of the Young Lions. It was the mid to late 1990s. So you had Joshua Redman, Roy Hargrove, Christian McBride. It's a long list of wonderful players who were getting record deals. Deservedly so, but there was also a lot more money in the record business. And it was coinciding with the peak CD sales, probably. I would say if you map that, you could look this up on the internet. But I think late 90s was the peak of CD sales. So this was like a cash-rich time for record labels in general. And then, of course, the jazz niche in particular was benefiting from that. This was when I was in high school, like really getting into it. So for me, that was the path. I wanted to write my own music and record it with great musicians and travel around the world performing it. So that costs a lot of money, and I didn't have it. I mean, this is what I grew up idolizing. And somewhere in here is my first, all right, maybe it's in here. Dun, 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 dun. So, hi buddy. Oh my gosh, you're getting so big. How was school? How was it?
It was.
So this was my first studio album, my second record label rejection. This is the one that Blue Note rejected that I was reading from earlier. I recorded this in 2005 with an amazing band, Eric Harland on drums, Aaron Goldberg on piano, Ruben Rogers on bass, and Mike Moreno on guitar. And it features all songs written by me, and I was really making progress in that department, other than the fact that I didn't have anybody to fund it. It was self-funded. I poured every penny I had and then some into making this record. It's very expensive to go into a recording studio with world-class musicians and produce a record. Always was, still is. But like I said, that was my second attempt to get a record deal. My third attempt came about 6 years later when I produced this album, Somewhere in Between. Another self-produced one. This time I had another fantastic band, spent even more money with a former major label producer. We were basically on a path to create a Warner Brothers caliber record and then try to shop it around for a deal. That was the plan. Even had a special guest on the record, and again, original material, some cool covers, great band, top of the line studio in Manhattan, all the stuff. Did I mention? Lots and lots. So much money. So much money. And this time, failed. Shopped it around to all the remaining record labels. Nobody was interested. Now, this is not meant to be a sob story. Oh, poor Bob, you couldn't get a record deal. Quite the contrary. I hope that it's actually encouraging and perhaps emboldening I don't know if that's the right word to use here. If you're on your own path, doing your own thing, creating whatever it is you're creating, and like me, you feel like you needed permission or need permission to do it, just keep going, just do it, just make the work, put it out there. Because now let me tell you about my first attempt trying to get a record deal. So my first attempt, I was still in college at Berklee College of Music, and I took the band that I had at the time, and I use that very loosely when I say the band that I had. The group of guys that I was lucky enough to pull into the studio with me, and we got to play a few concerts that year. Milan Milanovic on piano, Mark Kelly on bass. Mark was from that Houston crop of guys like Kendrick Scott and Robert Glasper and Walter Smith and Mike Moreno, and is now the bass player on The Roots with Jimmy Fallon. And Charles Haynes on drums, just a phenomenal drummer, and the band leader for the Wally's Funk Night in Boston at that time. I'll have to circle back and see if I can dig up. I think I have some old recordings of his band, The Squad. Amazing, so amazing. I was really fortunate to get to play with these guys, and we went in the studio to make a demo recording, a 4-song demo EP that I was going to shop around to record labels. I was about to graduate and head to New York, and this was gonna be my audio business card, you know, so to speak. And again, trying to get that record deal. It seems hilarious now, but anyway, it was 22 years ago. I was 22, and to be honest, nothing came of it. Nobody was interested in any way, shape, or form. All the same failures, and I forgot about it. I mean, I just kind of like, you know, whatever. It was just meant to be a demo. Until this summer, I was visiting my aunt and uncle. We were visiting my aunt and uncle, and my uncle had the CD. It was one of the like 50 copies that I printed of this thing. He had one of them, and he was playing it on his really great stereo system around the house. And I hadn't, like I said, I hadn't heard this thing in 20 years. And I heard it and thought, man, this is kind of good. This is actually, you know, I mean, I'll let you decide, but let me put it this way. I liked it enough that I thought it's silly for me to just hide this. I could put this out now. I could just put it on the streaming services, right? Why not? So that's it. That's the long-winded way of telling you that demo CD is now available. It's called Boston 2000. It's on the things, the Spotifys and the Apple Musics and all that. I didn't print any more CDs of it. You can't buy it physically, but you can go listen to it. There's 4 songs, 3 originals. In fact, the first song, Hidden Agenda, is the very first song I ever wrote in an odd time signature, and I wrote it because I could not play in 7. Arguably, I still couldn't, but whatever. If you want to look below wherever you're seeing this video, I'll put a link to the sheet music so you can check it out. There's a little Easter egg at the end of the song, No Strings Attached, another odd time signature gem. And that's it. The thing, it sounds great. They're a bunch of great players. I'm most definitely the weakest link of the bunch, which is where you want to be. The mix is cool. Like, everything about it is really cool. I thought this is just silly. It's sitting on a shelf. It's like, why? Why not? So there it is, my first official legacy release, because I'm my own record label, and so I can, you know, I can do whatever the